As an aviation enthusiast, I've never flown on a seaplane before. I've always wanted to fly on one and see what the experience is all about. After years of patience, I finally got a chance to try Harbor Air on their Twin Otter from Vancouver Harbor to Victoria Harbor during my Pacific Northwest excursion. This is going to be a blast, and I'm super excited for this. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome to the Vancouver Harbor Seaplane Base on this beautiful July afternoon. This is my first time at a seaplane base, and it's quite a different vibe compared to the airport. Luckily, I arrived with plenty of time to spare, so I spotted at the seaplane base to really gain a better understanding and appreciation of what seaplane bases are all about. Definitely check out that video if you get a chance. Seaplane bases share similar features to boat docks with tie downs, fuel stations, and so on. The main difference is planes need plenty of room to take off and land, so areas of the seaplane base are designated for exactly that. After an hour of plane spotting, it's time to get checked in for today's flight. As we have many small prop flights coming up, let's establish some fundamental concepts of these operations. First, you're likely going to be checking in at the ticket counter regardless of your prop flight. One reason encompasses the concept of small prop carriers not adapting the mobile check-in. Some of them have, but it's not uncommon to find carriers that don't have this option. The more pressing reason, however, includes your baggage. Typically, there's not much room inside these prop aircraft cabins, therefore, your bags will likely need to be weighed and checked to the baggage compartment. In this case, both my suitcase and my camera bag were checked after meeting the weight requirements. Otherwise, check-in is rather normal, but Harbor Air did give me a plastic boarding pass with my flight number and destination. I thought this was pretty neat and efficient. Another massive perk of this operation includes no security whatsoever. It felt just like a training flight excursion. This was certainly nice for different, and was rather neat to see this. Before we knew it, it's time to make our way down the gate 2 to find our seaplane for today's flight. Welcome to the dock, everybody, where we'll find Charlie Golf Foxtrot Hotel Alpha, a 42-year-old Twin Otter on floats. This aircraft is looking as good as new though, so no need to mind the age. Additionally, this is my first time on a Canadian aircraft, and what a way to do just that. So let's go ahead and get on board, everybody. Welcome to seat 1, everybody. Harbor Air boards by first come first serve, so I was able to get the best seat in the house. And here we go for our taxi, everybody. Be sure to stay on the lookout for all the in-flight videos, or rather, in-water videos, as those videos will be coming out very soon. And here we go for our takeoff, everybody. I really hope you all enjoyed this takeoff, as it was definitely the most unique experience I've ever felt on a seaplane, but granted it is my first time on a seaplane, but still very unique experience. So let's go ahead and check this out, guys. Let's begin climbing up to our cruising altitude for today's flight, everybody. Alright everybody, and welcome to the cruise. So I have a bunch to talk about here, so if I stumble on my words a little bit, I apologize. But again, this is a completely new operation for my channel here, so I definitely want to cover it in depth and really give you all the full analysis on what's going on here with seaplane operations. So let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, that takeoff and vibe was just so cool. The Vancouver Harbor is a really nice place, and obviously the Seaplane Base is just so cool as well. They have so many cool features to that, and again, it's just a completely different vibe. So really want to know what an experience that's like. So definitely has that boat feel, obviously, especially when you're taxiing around. So that's kind of what I gained from it. But obviously it was just so weird to feel the engine completely power up. It's not like a boat engine at all. It's just completely different. And then magically we just lifted off. So I just thought that was so cool and definitely have to mention that. So what a vibe it was, and it was so cool to see that right there. I really want to highlight that Vancouver Seaplane Base terminal. It was extremely nice with so many various amenities, as you all saw in there. Really great job by Harbor Air in Vancouver and everybody else involved to really bring that fully together. And again, check out that plane spotting video to really gain a better understanding and appreciation of what's going on at that harbor. It's so cool, and I can't highlight that enough. That's so cool. So I thought it was really neat that they used the iPad for the in-flight assessment there. I thought that was really cool to see that with the safety video and whatnot, but a very clever way, and the holder was also super cool for it. So I thought that was really nice to see that right there. And thank goodness I got seat number one. It just made it so fun to take a look at that cockpit, man. There's so much going on there, and let's just really go into highlighting the details on that. So you can just see the various gauges there, which is so cool. You got the map, and it's literally kind of like a flight training flight for me. And that's obviously, with having that experience before, it just felt so similar. You're just obviously not doing it. You're watching it from the back, which is so cool. So you can see how fast we're going, the altitude that we're at. You can see the throttle quadrant on the Twin Otter is so cool. The Twin Otter is such a capable aircraft with really great horsepower, climb performance, so on and so forth. And you really see how cool that throttle quadrant is there. So that's extremely cool. And then you got the prop pitch there as well in the fuel. So all that's just so cool to see from this perspective. They also have the laminated checklist there for both pilots, which I thought is really cool. I believe the single Otters can operate on just one pilot for Harbor Air, which is really cool. But obviously with the Twin Otter and two engines, they require two pilots to do just that. So that's extremely cool, and a really great vibe to just really take it all in with the gauges and just seeing all the green. Really nice panels, by the way. For a 42-year-old aircraft, they did some really great renovations on that, and I thought they did a really great job really just enhancing it, and overall it's so cool. So I thought that was amazing to really take a look at, and all of that's really great. But not only is the cockpit great, but man, just take a look at these views. There is so much going on here, and it's just such a vibe, to say the least. So we have various boats down there. You can see all the cruise ships, which is huge during this time of year in Vancouver, and just so on and so forth. The trees just look extremely beautiful, and really lucked out with the weather on this trip. So that sun just adds a completely new element to it, and it's so darn cool. So I absolutely love to see that, and that was definitely a complete vibe, to say the least, right there. So that was absolutely awesome, and just really got to take in that view. You got some turquoise water in there, normal water, so on and so forth. You can obviously see some communities down there living on the various islands and whatnot. So it's just so cool to see this. As this is on the southwest side of Vancouver, we're going to Victoria, which is actually really close to the United States border, which is down here on the very southwesterly side of British Columbia. So that's awesome to see, and the views are just so amazing. So definitely want to highlight that, as it's absolutely awesome. So obviously Harbor Air has quite an amazing purpose, to say the least. So let's go ahead and talk about Harbor Air. So obviously they have regularly scheduled float plane service, but they also do tours and charters, which is really cool. Their headquarters is actually out of Richmond, British Columbia, which is really cool. But obviously they mainly have their really huge operation out of Vancouver. But I'll kind of give you some destinations here in a moment. But first off, I want to talk about that they've integrated many companies over time, like West Coast Air, and they also integrated Salt Spring Air, which is now a subsidiary of the Harbor Air Group. So that's really cool. So really cool to see all that, and it's super cool. It's also worth noting that they're definitely changing up the operation quite a bit, as in March of 2019 they debuted electric aircraft, which in the plane spotting video we saw a bunch of those Dell having Canada-2 Beavers, and obviously those have been really cool to see, and they're electric. So that's awesome to see right there. Sorry about that, everybody, but nevertheless, back in that spotting video you saw all those Beavers. They're all electric aircraft, so that's really cool to note right there, and definitely got a really great vibe going right there with the new era of Harbor Air aircraft. It's also worth noting that they've accumulated many accolades and awards over time, so it's really cool to see that. Even ones like Canada Tourism Commission ones, so on and so forth. So they've definitely really done a great job in that industry. And again, I really want to highlight that Harbor Air has a really seasonal operation. Obviously, with the climate that Canada experiences during the winter time, there's not near as many flights as what you're going to find during the summer. So obviously Harbor Air is going to make most of their money money during the summer, and then obviously they really tone down the operation in the winter, but still have some operations. So that's definitely worth noting right there. So really cool to note that. But they have a variety of cities in British Columbia, so I'll put that on the screen now. And they also do fly to Seattle as well, which is really cool. But the largest operation there is definitely out of Vancouver, and you'll also get to see the route map here. But they also have a good handful of operations out of the South Vancouver harbors, which is really cool. Victoria, where we're going in this case, several seasonal cities, as you can see here as well, and then that service to Seattle as well. So a bunch going on. They have 4 aircraft types currently in their fleet. They have that Dash 2 Beaver, the electric aircraft that I was talking about. They do have a handful of Grand Caravans, the Cessna 208, and then they have the Single Otters, which is probably the most common aircraft in their fleet. And then what we're on, just one of the handful of Twin Otters that they have, which is really cool. So it's definitely worth noting that. So getting a more particular breakdown, they have 2 Caravans. They have 14 Beavers now, which is really nice. That's going to be the Dash 2. The Single Otter, the Dash 3, they have 22 of those, and they just have 3 of what we're on today, the Twin Otter, the Dash 6. But it's really worth noting how capable this aircraft is. This particular one, when I looked at the registration, which once again is Charlie Golf Foxtrot Hotel Alpha, the 42-year-old Twin Otter, it mainly flies between Victoria and Vancouver. I've really not seen it do much else. Seasonally, it would go to that city out there in far western British Columbia. Otherwise, it was mainly going between Victoria and Vancouver harbors. So really cool to note that. But again, this aircraft does have several seats there, 19 seats for the Twin Otter, so it makes sense to fly to one of your most popular destinations, which Victoria definitely is. Victoria is a really popular tourism city, and they also have several other attractions that bring people in. So really cool to note that, and definitely really awesome to dive into that. But yeah, just really wanted to highlight how capable Twin Otter is. Obviously, it has really good unit power, it has really good climb rate, the fuel burn's definitely noticeable, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely worth noting how capable this aircraft is, and it's really smart for Harbor Air to have a handful of these in their fleet. So again, amazing views. We cruised between 1850 and 2500 feet, so definitely worth noting that at usually about 141 knots or so. So that was really cool. So overall, Harbor Air serves a really great purpose in the community. I'm definitely glad to see what they're doing in British Columbia. Again, these views are absolutely awesome, so I really hope you've enjoyed those from both the cockpit and obviously what we cruised over. And that engine sounds just so great. So if you ever do get a chance to go to the Vancouver area or anywhere that you get to a seaplane base, I definitely would recommend trying to find some sort of Twin Otter if you can. It's really valuable to get that engine sound right there, and you obviously get such a good view if you get a good seat up there near the cockpit. So Single Otters are still great, and I definitely recommend those if you can find those too, as they're really easy to come by, but it's definitely worth the extra bump up to the Twin Otter, as they're not challenging to find, but they're definitely really cool when you are able to find them. So overall, this operation is extremely cool. I can't recommend it enough. You just have seen all the views here and what's going on. I had an absolute blast on this flight. The seat was definitely solid. There was just enough room, especially for just a 30-minute flight here. So all of it came together so well. What an awesome flight this was. And this really begins kicking off the props that we're going to be doing in Canada. We have 3 additional ones coming, so I really hope all of you are excited for it. And then we'll do a cumulative video as well. So I hope all of you are looking forward to that. So we'll be comparing a different type of prop aircraft. It will not be on the water in the next trip port. So I really hope all of you are excited for it. But let's go ahead and get the full summary here. So once again, Harbor Air, absolutely terrific airline. I can't recommend them enough. They've made some tremendous strides with their operations over time, and I was so fortunate to try them out here on the Twin Otter today. Definitely excited to hopefully go back and do even more flying with them at some point. Really great airline. The price was a little high on this ticket, but it was so worth it. I can't recommend it enough, and I really enjoyed the experience. So our landing into the Victoria Harbor is going to be as unique as they come. We're actually going to make a really cool bank right over downtown, and we'll land facing west. So this is going to be an absolute thrill, and I hope all of you are excited for this. Just really note the pilots in that operation and just get the full vibe there. So I really hope all of you enjoy this landing onto the Victoria Harbor. I really hope all of you enjoy this. Let's go ahead and touch down, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching this trip report on the Harbor Air Twin Otter on floats from Vancouver Harbor to Victoria Harbor. Be sure to stay on the lookout for all the in-flight videos to come from this trip, all the content from Vancouver, so on and so forth from the Pacific Northwest excursion, and much more content to come. But nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.